The Crash Course Podcast is brought to you in part by DerbyParts.com, Derby Inc. Magazine, Smash Masters, Derby Parts, and the Keystone Nationals, a Bo Lockwood Motorsports production, July 19th at the Jefferson County Fairgrounds in Brookville, Pennsylvania. This is the Crash Course Demolition Derby Podcast with DerbyTees.tv. We are trackside at the Union County Fair and Expo Center in Surgis, Kentucky for Redneck Rumble 2014. And now your host, Chris Marquardt. A little bit of a rocky start there as we were getting going. Good afternoon. Welcome to the Crash Course Live presented by DerbyTees.tv. We're going to be hopefully hanging out with Derby Tees all night long as we move through the live portion of the program, but a little bit of a special thing for all of our folks back home and you folks hanging out here in the Union County Fairgrounds Arena. Doing a little bit of a pre-race show. Steve Bucknam, the trackside announcer here with Redneck Rumble. He's joining us at the table. Josh Decker here to my left, and I am Chris Marquardt. We do our show every Monday night live on FingerLakes1.tv and teamed up for Derby Tees, and now we're out here looking forward to a good show. There are a lot of nasty, nasty cars out there, and make sure if you haven't done it yet, get out there and check out Vendors Row. There's a lot of really cool stuff. Josh has been out there wandering around a little bit earlier. What'd you see?
Oh, Vendors Row is just, you wish you were a millionaire because you just sit and buy everything from every vendor. There's just some real amazing stuff here today, some real good quality products, and again, anybody that's in here today, make sure you go look through that stuff and take some stuff home.
You know, we were kind of talking about it on the way down here too. We were talking about on the way down here about the technology that goes into the sport now and how much it's progressed and how the innovation has really picked up. And you look out at these vendors and you look at the science that has gone into these designs. I mean, it's not like, hey, let's just throw some steel on a car and it's tough now. And it's like not like the old adage of, hey, did you put concrete in the frame? I mean, there's some real science involved here. And to walk down that vendor row, it really is awesome to see the level of engineering that has gone into it now.
I mean, just tires alone. I mean, I used to take tires from a junkyard and put tubes in them and run them, and they'll laugh at you about that now. I mean, just all different treads, tires, whisks. Just you could stand out there all day just looking at tires. I mean, pretty awesome stuff here today.
When was the last time you got that excited about donuts?
I know. There's so much crazy stuff here.
I get excited about donuts.
Yeah, we know.
Steve, where'd you stay last night?
I slept in a camper.
Yeah, how was that?
Oh, it was good. It's kind of like being in an igloo, and I'm from New England, so it's like I was at home.
That's right. Steve made the travel all the way in from Manchester, New Hampshire. Periodically makes appearances, trackside announcer at the New England Championships at the Brockton Fairgrounds in Brockton, Massachusetts. Josh and I, we are from New York. We made the 14-hour drive out as part of taking part with the Derby Tees program. You know, we're looking to catch up with a number of drivers, but there's so much prep work going on in the pits right now as everybody's trying to get through inspection as we move towards the 5 o'clock hour when everything is supposed to kick off with our 4 one-and-done program. Nobody was really willing to pull themselves away from the cars because there's just too much stuff still to do.
Oh, but you know what's real funny though? Actually, we walked out there and there's some modified cars out there that are just
22 of them.
Amazing. I mean, the really they're pieces of art to sit and look at why he did this, he did that. I mean, just things I've never thought of just staring at them. Really neat cars out there. But, you know, one car unloaded off the trailer, super modified. You can tell it's plated, skinned, everything. He literally drives right to the inspection line and drives right back around the front and says, that was the fastest inspection I've ever had. And it was awesome.
Well, yeah, they're doing a what they call a 5-foot rule inspection here, which I really enjoy. And that's pretty much, they said that the cars have to somewhat sort of resemble a car, kind of, and then be safe.
Yeah,
and that's it.
5-foot rule. 5-foot rule.
There's some neat stuff out there. Some guys were really using their head in this modified class.
And some of those modified cars look really good. You know, it used to be you just put the thickest piece of metal on the car and just tank it up. And now there's some bodywork in these and they look like cars.
You know.
Anybody that remembers the We Crash page, though, does everybody remember Showstopper, that car that was built, that Chevy Impala? It's here tonight, and it looks just like it did way back then. I mean, it has to have been 5, 6, 7 years that car was built, and it's out there, and it is impressive. Super impressive.
I loved that car at the Blizzard Bash. I was watching that at home on pay-per-view, jumping up and down, and I was like, that is the car that's going to win this whole thing. I was so disappointed to see him get pushed up on the barriers.
Yeah.
And there's similar setup in the arena today, but these barricades have concrete blocks in them, so it'll be a little bit different for these these guys.
It's going to be exciting. That's 22 of them. I mean, at Blizzard, I think we only got to see 8 cars, 10 cars, 22 modifieds out here. Is going to be
And you knew
awesome.
how loud that was.
Yeah. Oh no. This arena is going to be great today for the sound. I mean, it's tighter, smaller in here. You're going to be hearing it for sure.
We're getting some notes from the folks at home. They're saying that they're watching basketball. I'm hoping everything's working okay on that, and it appears to be that we're getting out all right. You know, everybody hanging out here in the arena. I can't believe how early fans began trickling in here. I mean, we had folks that were here on the grounds picking their seats around 8 o'clock this morning, 8 o'clock local time.
Yeah. That's
Yeah. I mean, I was pretty shocked. I mean, the Derby doesn't start till 5 o'clock here today, and there was definitely people here saving their seat at 8 a.m., and they weren't just putting blankets down and then going home. I mean, they were putting a blanket down, guarding the seat, but then they were going out to vendor row, talking to all the vendors out there, walking around, checking out the cars. Yeah, I mean, these people are dedicated. And listen, I mean, we came as far as we did. There's people coming from all over the country for this show, both to drive and watch, and really happy to be a part of it.
You know, we caught up with Wade Sicking from Derby Parts, who's one of our partners back home when we do our studio shows, and we talked to the folks with Baldwin Racing Engines. We told them that we'd be doing a show, and they said that, you know, if they can break away, if things slow down for them, they would be in here and chatting with us. We don't see them yet. Yeah. That's a good sign that things are pretty busy out there for those guys. They're raffling off a block like they did at Blizzard Bash, and I think that's an awesome move on their part. So make sure you get out there and grab those raffle tickets and support that raffle. The proceeds are going back to Kicking for Cancer.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure. That's definitely a
great cause.
Good thing. And I know they did something at the Blizzard Bash too, and certainly happy to.
I think that went back to the Junkin' for Jewels.
Yeah, so I mean that's just showing that the dedication that these people have as a whole to help in the community. You know.
Well, we got to all stick together, and as you get to these bigger shows, the more and more people are sticking together, which is really cool.
You know, we've got four one and dones on tap today. What are you looking forward to the most? You've already talked about the modifieds, but we've also got that wagon that's going to be going home.
Yeah, I can't
one of our
wait to win
spectator
that.
here is going. Yeah,
I can't wait to run.
One of the
that
spectators is going to be driving that in the old school division.
I'm still trying to figure out how I'm going to announce the show from the driver's seat of that raffle car.
Headset.
Yeah. Listen, nobody at home. You can't tell my wife if I win the raffle car, I'm driving. I can't
Yeah, I'll
help
just
it.
say I did it, Steve. It's fine.
When was the last time you drove a Chevy wagon?
2008. That was the last Derby car I actually drove in before I retired.
That was a square back, or
It was a square. It doesn't count. It was a square.
No, that
wagon.
doesn't
Yeah,
count. No,
does
the
not
clamshell out here is
I actually only
nice.
ran one clamshell. It was a 74 Pontiac. I ran it like 5 times, and then this is how much Derby has changed, right? We ran it like 5 times. The car was completely straight. The frame wasn't bent at all, and the bumpers were sort of bent, but they were still straight across the frame.
Right.
We left it at a fairgrounds because we just got sick of it. We didn't junk it. We just decided it wasn't worth towing
That's
it
a
home,
horrible story.
and just left it. Took our battery, gas tank, and
We
that
left
wasn't
$1,200 on the ground.
if we had a time machine, right?
Yep.
And if it was one of the square backs that you did that with, no one would have blamed you.
It's still
Right.
sitting there, probably.
Exactly.
It's still
Nobody would have even brought
You know,
it.
I gotta say, Mark Wolf, Hard Knock Derby team, and I think that's his team name down there in
Luray, Virginia.
Woodstock.
Yeah.
Woodstock, Virginia. He's run Luray before. I think that was an IDDA show way back, and he run Woodstock nationwide shows down there. Corey Rader is a friend of his. Corey had a squareback Oldsmobile wagon when I was down there at the Union County Fairgrounds back in 2011, and he went back to back with another wagon that was built the same way there, nationwide rules, and the back bumper pushed in. The frame rail section between the bumper and the hump broke out, and the quarter panel stayed straight.
Something's not right.
Something's not right. There was definitely some shenanigans going on there. But, I mean, the same thing happened to, pretty much everybody there.
Yeah.
Those were very, very hard cars. That was the same year that Mark Wolf ran the purple 71 Cadillac with a blower on it.
Yeah. You know what I like about Mark is that he just doesn't care. I
Right.
mean, he literally goes out because he loves his sport.
Right.
And he had the ability to throw a blower on that Derby car and go out and just wreck stuff with it.
Awesome.
And the amount of people that couldn't believe that he was trying to pull that off. And, man,
Yeah, it was
he made
awesome.
fans for life with that.
Another fan, speaking of fans for life, I'm hoping to see Josh Wagner here before too long, one of the guys from FTS Racing. Going to try to make a bid for the first time and running in the team program at Blizzard Bash this fall. He's going to be here recovering from some knee surgery, so we're going to see how he's getting around. But he's going to have
he'll
some
be
stuff out
limping
there on Vendors Row. and also we were hoping to catch up at some point. But with this weather, it has completely snarled the travel plans for so many different people. You know, DEC Headers is going to be late, but they are on the road. They were posting some pictures on Facebook, and they were traveling in some nasty weather. Yeah. Mike DeFreesia from Mad Mike's Derby Shop, he was on his way here. I believe he's still en route. He hasn't.
Oh, he's here. He's here. I seen a picture. He's here. Where are you, Mike?
Yeah, I mean, we got pretty lucky. I mean, we came through the day yesterday, and I think from what everybody said, we pretty much just drove right in front of that storm and missed the worst of it. So
lucky for us.
Lucky for us, we had Ben Haas driving.
Oh, yes. Man, what a machine he is, let me tell you.
He's not scared of cops. He's not scared of them.
We Crash Course loves law enforcement. We have no problem.
Oh, no, absolutely not. We fly right past them.
Thank you. Thanks for that. That's great. Back when we get home.
Not by choice.
You know, you were asking earlier about like, what we're most excited
correct
about.
This, please.
No, I love cops. We'll stop for it if you throw the siren.
Chris, you were asking like what we're most excited about. And I know like those pro mods are going to be amazing, right? But normally, and this might be kind of controversial, but I think sometimes the compacts kind of get overlooked a little bit. But the modified compacts of Blizzard Bash were amazing.
Yeah.
Right.
And then I saw some pictures of some of the compacts that are going to be here today. Like that one I think was a Fox body, but we couldn't.
No one knows what it is.
We couldn't really tell because of how much the body modification had been done. Yeah. I want to see that car run.
Yeah, absolutely. We saw a couple pulling through inspection line, and I've never seen compacts like this. I've really never seen compacts like this. Can't wait to watch them run. And again, how many in that? I think there's 22 in that one, or 28, I think, in the compacts.
Yeah, everything was right around mid-20s.
I can't wait to hear these
think there's only been one or two weather cancellations too. I mean, all things considered, people the show's late enough to where people, if they've got their car built, they're going to try to get here.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, for sure.
Definitely.
And when it's a one and done, I mean, you Josh as a driver, and Steve, I don't know if did you catch many one and dones when you were driving, or hadn't that really come to pass?
No, actually being from the East, I mean, a lot of shows are just one and done. So it was nice because you go out and just run a car like one run and you could win. Right. And that was where my best records were, was running that style of derby. I mean, who doesn't like to just run once and then not have to worry about changing tires and putting a radiator back
Josh
in the car?
loves that. Josh loves
I love that
because it gives him a lot more. It gives him a lot more time to meet fans and sign autographs. That's his favorite part of one and done.
Not at all. No, you know, it does get kind of more stressful. Just even setting up to go to the Derby when you got to throw your torches in there, you got to throw your welder, your everything, all the parts and everything. Then you got to get there. Then as soon as your heat's done, you don't get to relax. Boom, you're right back out on the pitch. You're telling your guys what to do. You're hot and sweaty again. Then boom, right back in the car. It just makes for a tiring night. I think when you get to run a one and done, it's more of a relaxed atmosphere. You don't really bring much with you. You're just kind of going out there and junking the car and just going to enjoy the night.
Nothing's more fun than working on a hot car, right?
Yeah, exactly.
In this weather, I'll take it.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, you know, logistically, there was a lot of discussion online about the run and done format here at Redneck Rumble, and some people were saying like maybe it wasn't going to be as much of a value for them because it wasn't a quote unquote full show.
Sure.
But I mean, logistically, who wants to go out in this weather outside right now where we're in a heated building and still shivering a little bit and try to change tires and replace the radiator and get covered in water and everything else? I mean, I don't want to do it.
No, I agree with that.
You don't want to get covered in water. At first you do because it's warm coming out of the radiator if there's anything left, but it's not going to take long for that to become a real problem.
It's cold enough outside right now that if you were trying to pour water in the radiator, it would probably freeze in your funnel before it got there.
Yeah, the wind's blowing out there for sure.
Devin Manciocci made the ride out with us. He came in all the way from Georgia. We also saw some other familiar New York faces. Pat Osman is out here. And Brett Rye, Rich Predmore, Nick Nicastro, Pete Hansen from over in Pennsylvania. So it's good to see
so much. A whole bunch of Northeast guys.
Good to see all the Northeast guys making the trip out here. It was not a short trip at all.
It's nice to see Pete Hansen. I mean, he had a pretty good year last year.
He did okay.
He did okay.
He won the Keystone Nationals in Brookville and turned around and won the Hartford Fair after that.
It's fun to see some of the East Coast guys out here kind of giving him a hard time. I think we saw Rich Predmore and Brett Relier like sweeping the floor in front of Pete as he was walking earlier. You know, and Pete saying, "Come on, guys, get away from me here." But you know, that was some good stuff for sure.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that was really funny.
That's funny. That's great. There's a lot of good cars out there, though.
Did you see Rick Clark? You're talking about Northeast. Rick Clark's here.
Yeah. I mean, it really blows me away, like how far people have come for this show. It's the middle of winter. You know, it's cold out. And people are driving through blizzards to get here, and they're coming from everywhere.
What else you got to do, though, really?
What else do you have to do?
Well, they could be building cars. I mean, we were...
they could be building cars, getting ready for the Northeast Championship, Keystone Nationals, or Cuca Clash.
Yeah.
There's guys doing that right now, I'm sure.
I'll tell you, I mean, there's some really, this 2014 is going to be like the year,
Yeah,
I think.
It's going to be a crazy year.
If you're going to build some cars and go someplace, it's this year.
You know what's interesting is like the last few years, I think every winter beforehand we say, oh, this next year is going to be the year. But I think that really just shows like how much all the promoters are really starting to like step it up.
Yeah.
Well, look how much it's changed just in the last 5 years. I mean, we've talked about this before on the studio program, is where things were and versus where things are. And Derby when Brian Tompkins, one of our other co-hosts, he's home celebrating a birthday. He couldn't make the trip out.
Happy birthday, Brian!
Happy birthday, Brian!
Oh yeah,
he's home. He's home celebrating his birthday. He talked about how he used to run in the heyday of Derby in the mid '90s and stuff like that. And I'm wondering if that's sort of a relative term. I mean, when you look at where things are now. And in the evolution of the program with so many big money shows, you look at what Stir and Dirt's been able to do out in Utah. You look at what Smash has been able to do with Bash for Cash with their program over there in Ohio. Mangled Metal and Brian Schumann, King's shows, they continue to gain momentum. They got a big team show coming up in Carrollton. TSP's got a show coming up that's going to precede Spring Explosion. Derby Icons has a full schedule. Blizzard Bash, it draws all sorts of attention. If you want to build on an extreme level and you want to work at a very high national caliber opportunity, it's kind of there.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. And on top of the shows, I mean, we've got the media outlets. I mean, we're doing what we do now, but I mean, Mark Klein's been doing the DerbyTees.tv thing for at least a year now.
Yep.
And his schedule this year is pretty full, and looking forward to his pay-per-view broadcast. Of course, you got Ultimate Derby with the Blizzard Bash and their Easy Stream set up, and I think it's really just changing the whole culture, so to speak.
Yeah, and I mean, and we've been working real hard in the Northeast to sort of give some of these drivers a little bit back, in terms of what we're doing with Derby Inc. magazine, and the first issue sold out. There's only about 8 issues left of issue number 2, so that's kind of exciting for us back at home, and you're going to be able to read up on results from this show along with Winter Slam, which is coming up February 8th in Garden City, Minnesota. We're going to be up there too. You'll be able to read the results on those. Bring in a little bit more of a different dynamic of actual media coverage instead of just a written list of top finishers that you can find online.
Yeah, I think we were kind of talking about it briefly on one of the podcasts a couple weeks ago about that old racing paper that some of my family was in, and that
Gator. I think we figured that it was we pinned down it was Gator Racing News.
Yeah. So I mean,
which is still around, by the way.
That's cool that's there. But I honestly believe, like when I was younger, there was a lot more racing publications, and there was a lot more places where you could find the local circle track results and things like that. And I think with some of the social media and the internet, a lot of that kind of died out. So it's nice to see these media outlets coming back and people being able to experience it from everywhere.
There's still a lot of places that you can get circle track news. I mean, there's a number of different online sources. Dirt Track Digest is a go-to source, and you've got Arietta Racing News. You've also got Gator Racing News as viable options. Most of the Derby-related news that you find in those comes from track press releases, and it's reduced to, so-and-so won the Derby at the end of the night. You might get the top 2 or top 3 finishers, whereas for the guys that are running on the circle track, if there's 24 cars on the track, all 24 of those names are mentioned.
Right.
And the Derby guys just haven't been getting the respect that they really deserve. I mean, these are purpose-built cars. You've got a lot of money sunk into these things now, and they're going to the next level. And as those builders continue to go to the next level, the promoters in some circles are matching that. And it's the promoters that elect to not support that aren't moving that direction, that aren't going the way that these other promoters are going, are the ones that are going to get forgotten. This is a great project that we've got going here. That we're so lucky to come and have a part in what's going on here at Blizzard Bash 2014. This is our second indoor show, which is great this time of year, and I'm looking forward to it.
So glad to be part of Redneck Rumble. I mean, it's just...
What did I say?
I'm just saying Redneck Rumble. I'm not going to say what you said.
Okay, Redneck Rumble.
It's fine. But what you were saying about the promoters that are the promoters that are picking up and they're doing those things, and that's why they're moving forward. I just want to be clear, like that's not just limited to big shows.
No.
Some of these smaller fairs are really starting to understand what's going on, and they're putting in the time and the effort to show a little bit of respect back to the Derby guys, and it's really paying off for them too.
And I hope promoters that are at home watching this are watching, maybe sometimes look at yourself and say, what am I doing? What am I doing to help my show? How am I taking my show to the next level? Because a lot of guys are pretty stale right now, especially up our way. There's a lot of promoters that are just kind of stale and not moving with the way Demolition Derby's going. And if you're not going to go, then we're going to pass you. So maybe time to kind of look back and say, what am I going to do this year to kind of step it up? If you look around today, these guys really stepped it up. There's some great stuff here today, and everybody's really thinking. Everybody's been communicating well, and everything's coming together real well. And it's 1 o'clock.
Yeah.
Are they going to get done with inspections before 5?
Oh yeah. You gotta be you gotta watch inspection a little bit different than what we're used to. I think it's kind of neat to watch these cars that you're looking at like, this is never going to pass inspection, and they're like, go ahead, you're fine. They're really doing a quick safety inspection on them, but other than that, there's not much going on the compact modified.
I was looking through some of their rules and their flyer, and it says that you have to be fully inspected and ready to go by 4. The show starts at 5. So if you're not done at 4, thanks for coming.
Yep, see ya.
But that gives the officials time to maybe grab something to eat because they've been working hard all day and warm up a little bit.
Warm up, yeah.
Well, what time did we hear that 4-wheeler this morning? That was about 4:30, 5 o'clock.
Yeah, that's about 5 a.m. There was a 4-wheeler working around the grounds, making sure there was trash barrels and stuff like that.
Wow.
I mean, these people are dedicated to it. I mean, they've put in the effort.
Absolutely. Now on the track, let's talk about the track. We haven't even got there
yet.
yet.
Haven't got there yet.
We walked in here today, man. The track is just awesome. It's and I don't know if you can tell by some of the pictures that we've been putting up here, the track is really big. What I really like about it is they got the concrete berms buried in the dirt, so it's not just a dirt berm that you're going to go up into it. I mean, it's going to do some damage on some of
them. I was looking at those berms, though, and, like, maybe, I don't know how you feel about this, but I've been to some smaller fairs where they have jersey barriers, and they don't put the jersey barriers end to end. They actually, like, put a little bit of space between them. I hate that.
No.
I mean,
as a driver's side of it, you do hate that.
I mean, you could get, like, pushed into those sideways, you snap an axle immediately or something. And there's some space between these blocks, but at least it's, like, filled with dirt.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure that as the day goes on, that'll get packed in some or how that's going to work, but I mean, at least they're filled in, and there's a lot less chance here of someone getting pushed up over something and maybe getting into a danger zone.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing about anywhere you go, you really have to just look at the track alone. What's the negatives, pros and cons of that track? And that track is, if you're getting on the side and someone's shoving you in there at an angle, like you say, Steve, it can tear your car up getting in those cracks of all them berms.
In terms of, on the other side of it, and outside of a driver standpoint, an official standpoint, I don't like seeing the jersey barriers with a gap in them or without being doubled or at least backfilled with dirt, because if a car starts to roll up, now their bumper is hitting higher on that jersey barrier, which changes the center of gravity is going to be different when they hit it, and that angle is going to make it far easier to knock it over. I've seen jersey barriers fall over sideways, and it makes a heck of a splash in the water, and it's fun to watch. But if there's a guy next to it, boy, it could get ugly.
Well, I mean, we've seen some officials kind of being a little dodgy at the Northeast Championships in Brockton. And the nice thing that they have there is that the Derby Arena is pretty far away from where all of the spectators are. Like, it's an old horse track, so they have grandstands, and there's a track space, and then there's a little bit more space, and there's the wall.
Well, there's also asphalt underneath the pit, isn't there?
There is, yeah. So, I mean, if they knock a barricade over, it's not like they're going to run out and hurt somebody with it. But I mean, we've seen walls go over. But it's a far cry different from like what we saw at Blizzard Bash, where the berms became the other competitor.
Yeah.
Or even at like Hartford, Pennsylvania, Hartford Fair.
It's the 12th man.
We see people get pushed over the wall there, and and drivers have asked about, hey, when are you going to like backfill those walls? And the officials' point at Hartford anyway has been, that's part of our show. That's part of the strategy here. If you get yourself pushed over, then that's your problem.
If you're coming to this show, that's part of it. Yep. Take it or leave it. You don't have to pick the show if you don't want.
And we saw some main players go out in that event.
Oh, yeah. Jamie St. Mary, didn't he get shoved up once and come back
Josh
down?
Josh DeBevic.
DeBevic spent a lot of time up there, yeah, for sure.
One of the Mike Fiduchek, he was up on one. Anybody else that you can think of, Josh Decker?
Kyle Kilmer got shoved up there by Jim Beatty in my heat.
What about that 3-car train with the twisted wagon?
Yeah, that was Mikey Riddle and Kyle Herbert.
Yep.
There was a white car in the feature.
I didn't see any white cars.
No, I didn't hear that.
No.
Moving on.
Might have been a Chrysler.
Moving on. I knew that was going to come back.
Car, huh?
I drove up on the wall. How about that?
There you go. Good job. Good decision. Good decision.
Yeah. No.
Nice.
No, but I know they got the cars firing up behind us here. I don't know if the people can hear it behind us, but every time they fire up a car, the cars are right out here in the trailers right behind this wall, and there's some nasty sounding motors out there today. There's no stock 318s laying around out there.
No. Everything here is built, and it's built well.
Yeah.
You know what I thought was interesting, which a lot of people wouldn't really notice? There's no antifreeze rule here. Most derbies you go to, they tell you it has to be water only. And these guys, they said, listen, if we run water only, they're all going to be froze up before we even get there.
Blocks up.
So, the no antifreeze rule here. It's nice to see that promoters aren't just set in their ways about what it has to be. They can actually adapt. nice.
Looking around, it's filling up. We got some more people trickling in. Show's supposed to be going off at 5 o'clock, so we're kind of excited as we work towards that. I know we've got Ben Host and Devin Manciocci both kind of hanging around here. We're going to be catching up with them in a little bit. What else? So how much pre-work did you put in when you found out, I think it was Thursday, that you're going to be announcing here?
Well, I always get a little nervous when I have short notice on a show because I do like to do some homework on some of the drivers and at least try to make sure I know how to say their names correctly. Because, I mean, that's nothing that I hated more than having my name said wrong when I was driving. So,
how many times were you called Steve Buckman?
About 17 million. Sure. Yeah, I mean, even I think my mom might have called me that before. You know, but no, obviously I went through the drivers list, tried to make sure I familiarized myself with the names. I spent a lot of time on Facebook looking at pictures and seeing what people were getting ready to bring, so I could kind of talk about their cars a little bit. And I took a look at the vendor list. I mean, there's over 20 vendors here today.
Mm-hmm.
Great vendors.
Outside.
Yeah. Outside, standing in the cold, handling bare metal, trying to be able to be pleasant and provide customer service while they're getting frostbite.
Right.
And, to those of you guys in-house, we appreciate you being here. Thanks for bearing with the weather, and thanks for visiting our vendor row. Just so you fans know, every vendor that was here today provided something to the drivers. There's going to be some driver awards that are provided by the vendors. So,
yeah, very neat idea, for sure.
Derby T's banners going up as we get ready to bring some cars in the arena here in just a couple hours. It's interesting how the venue continues to evolve and change. You see more and more stuff going up on the rails and stuff around the perimeter of the arena. This place was busy since early this morning, and the one thing that I haven't seen them do much of anything to is the track.
Right.
Yeah, that got done in advance.
Yeah, the track is so hard, and it is ready to go, and that is going to be crazy fast once they get the cars out there.
I cannot wait, man. That track is huge. I love indoor shows.
Did you go out there fishing for a ride yet?
No, I'm trying to be good today. I'm trying to really be good today. I haven't got to that raffle car yet, but I'm definitely going to buy as many tickets as I can for that raffle car.
Yeah.
As many as I can. I know Brett Relay has already bought 200 of them, right? Over there is about $300 in tickets, so he might be tonight's winner. We don't know.
No, it'll be good to see whoever gets it. I personally, half of me wants to see a seasoned Derby veteran get it who knows what they're doing.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's something to be said about watching a total rookie, maybe somebody who's wrenched on someone else's Derby car but has never gotten behind the wheel.
Right.
I love to see their excitement. They're just so pumped to be finally getting their chance. I love that. I get behind the underdog every time.
Have you been tracking the build of that on Facebook?
Oh, who isn't?
I mean, the Redneck Rumble community page. It was crazy. I mean, you could track the whole build progress. That is a serious car.
Oh man, it's
old school.
Yeah, it's nice looking. It's really nice looking out there.
I mean, we've seen some raffle cars do fairly well in 2013, and I'm hoping that continues this year. It's always a lot of fun to see. Whatever the circumstances, whether the driver's experienced or otherwise, it was really irrelevant. I just like to see the raffle car get down there. We've seen it at Brockton a couple times. Actually, in Cuba, Jake Doyle won the stock division show with a raffle car Riviera. And that was pretty cool to see.
I could tell you actually lots of stories of guys getting in those raffle cars and winning. I mean, Brett was right here. Brett won one in Morris one day, just randomly won it, went out there in a Ford wagon and then won the Derby, just the luckiest guy ever. But it's really cool to be able to even get a shot to jump in one of them.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm excited to see how much money How much money do you think comes in from a raffle like that? Because you have to think that almost every single guy in here that's got a free $20 in his pocket at least bought one of them tonight just for the shot at it. And like I said, we know a couple guys that have spent hundreds already.
You got to be in it to win it, man.
Absolutely right.
I think as far as the raffle car stuff goes, it's definitely a gamble on the promoter side. I would assume they could make some serious money. I know of a couple promoters in the past who've made a few $1,000s profit, plus got to keep the car that wasn't that hurt.
Exactly.
But on the other side of it, it could go drastically wrong. I mean, you're
taking a gamble.
You spend all that money to make a good car that someone's going to want to spend money to buy tickets on, and then, what if no one shows up, or what if,
Or let's say you get a young guy out there, or a guy that just really doesn't care and just goes out there and stands on your motor. He's beating your tranny, your motor, your drivetrain. That's a gamble that you're going to take tonight.
And I think Brandon was saying it's a fresh 355 in that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we talked with him on Monday, and he was telling us about that car, and that car is for real.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Whoever's in it does have a shot tonight. I went in it.
I like the paint scheme on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly, it kind of reminds me of the event shirt. It's like that, got that blue and black with like the light lettering.
It's sharp looking.
I like that.
That's the logo right there.
I got one.
You got one there. The T-shirt's behind you. It's on the lower corner.
And if I could talk about Derby tees real quick, Mark really, I love where Mark's going, man. Every time we're talking to him, he's on the same path as us. He sees where Derby's going. We're all trying to get one way with Derby, and it's really neat to see the stuff that Mark's got going on. Derby tees, if you guys haven't bought some shirts, some just the stuff they got. They have so many different styles. I mean, I could stand there all day looking at different sweatshirts to buy,
The cool thing about Mark is he's got this custom T-shirt site now. You can actually go right on the website that he has and customize your own shirt. He's got all the art already there. There's a program already there. You basically type in what words you want to be on it, and then all the cars, the clip art's already there. You kind of just drag and drop. Anybody could design your own custom shirt, and then he'll give you a price. Now, one thing I learned talking to Mark, because I got a little bit of sticker shock looking at that, when you go on that website and you build one shirt, it gives you the price of like a dozen. Mm-hmm. So when you look at it, it says one shirt's like $140-something or whatever it is. That looks a little scary, but it's a dozen or more.
That's
so don't get afraid if you check that out. But check out his custom T-shirt site too.
It breaks down to something like $10 a shirt. That's not so bad.
It's a deal.
Yep.
You know.
We just lost one of our excavators. I wonder what they're pushing in next.
Yeah.
Boy, when that door opened, we knew it, didn't it?
Oh yeah. You can start seeing our breath right here.
We were messing around with the Raptor, one of the aerial cameras that we've brought with us here to kind of tinker with and test for when we get back home, and it got caught up in one of the downdrafts from the heat and it crashed into the grandstands.
Yeah, it's a Parrot AR drone, and it's got a 1080p HD camera built into it, so it gets some cool angles. It definitely is going to change up the look of some of our videos this year. I do some hype videos for my announcing, and we're going to share some of that footage with Smashed Empire Films at some of the shows that we're working back and forth at. But that thing is neat. You know, it allows you to get places and get angles that you couldn't get any other way. But there's so much you have to look out for.
Yeah.
I mean, in this place, you got downdrafts from the heaters. You got exhaust fans stuck in the air one way. You got fans walking around that if you mess up and it crashes, now you got 4 blades heading towards them. I mean, it's a little nerve-wracking, but we hope that the finished product makes it worth it.
Well, you're the perfect candidate to fly that.
Yeah, you're a driver. We're all right with it.
I did not want that responsibility in no way, shape, or form.
Do we have to sign waivers or? What's the deal with that?
Yeah.
Well, that's why we were flying it earlier when there wasn't that many people around.
No, it's really neat. I mean, that was so cool to watch you fly that. I mean, it's going to step us up to the next level for sure.
And cool. Those of you that are here in-house, if you do see the drone coming around a little bit later, make sure you wave at it. We're going to try to put a little clip show together to be aired a little bit later on the Crash Course or FingerLakes1.tv.
That should be together for Monday.
We're going to try.
We'll see what happens.
Bouncing.
What do you got?
You need Steve over there? Yep.
All right,
guys. Thanks for having me. I got to go up and do some work.
Thanks a lot. Steve Bucknam, SB Motorsports announcing. He's here working at.
I'm sorry. I'm being
on the mic at Redneck Rumble all night. What's wrong?
I got people.
Are you being harassed? Are you being heckled?
I'm being heckled right now. Security. Security. Get Pete out of here.
I saw they put your sign up over there. The autographs. The autograph section.
My autographs?
Yeah, $10 each.
Pete, get out of here. I'm not watching you. We got the New York guys up here, and they're harassing us for sure. Hey, who's this guy right here?
This Manciocci. What's
Devin,
up,
Devin Manciocci coming and hanging out with us here for a little while. Hopefully we'll be able to get him in a little bit later on as we move through the pay-per-view portion of this afternoon's event. Devin, what do you think of what you've seen so far? You made the drive up from Georgia, and you got in here last night, but you haven't you didn't get to the grounds until today.
Yeah, some of those cars are pretty built out there.
No, built is like an understatement. I mean,
cannot wait to see those modified cars.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Devin and I went through the inspection line.
Go ahead.
It's through the inspection line together, and it was just guys are real. I mean, even in compacts. I mean, from where we're from, guys are building compacts in a day, I think, or 2 days. I mean, the body forming, shaping.
It's just a full out build for the compacts.
Man,
it doesn't matter what the make, model, anything of the vehicle is. They're just going all out 100%.
We saw a little bit of that, but back in November, where they even allowed the mini trucks to participate. But there's no mini trucks allowed in this program. It has to be a car.
Well, somewhat of a car, I guess, because these things, I mean, it's interesting to watch them go through because we're standing there like, okay, what is that thing? And, you know, from where we're from, it's like, all right, that's a Lumina, that's a whatever, it's a Pacer, but I can't tell. I have no idea what half these things are. We're going to find out. You know, it's like, I think it's a Ford, but I don't know. There's some tough stuff back there.
Were you able to learn anything walking around out there?
Yeah, if you put 15 flat stacks, everyone stares at your car. I know that. I learned that out there. There's one guy out there with just...
No, you just tie everything in together so nothing can bend. That's.
We did learn that. And there's just guys thinking of things that I've really just never even thought of in my whole career of doing.
And now that like you see what they do, you can kind of put your own little twist
yeah,
on it. You know
sure.
what I mean?
You know, you're real excited about the stock show that's happening back home during the Union County Fair, but at the same time, you see this stuff out here, and we've had this conversation before. Where do you think, you know, you're also tied in with Total Destruction, Devin Productions, which hosts shows at Morris, New York. They do the Malone Fair, upstate New York, Ontario County Fairgrounds. You got shows all over the place with TDDP. Where is Derby trending from your perspective?
I don't know. I've never seen anything quite like this in my life. I would think it's going more towards a limited weld than it is stock, just because people like to use all of their parts from one car to the other car,
right?
Continue so on and so forth.
You know, I think though there's tons of drivers out there that, and I'm one of them, that is kind of stuck in the old school mentality where I love growing up and what I watched growing up, watching 200 cars getting smashed in a night and that kind of stuff. But those kind of days are kind of done. So, you know, there's still drivers that are still stuck in those days, but I think there's just as many drivers out there that are trying to get to this style building, this style of this quality of builds. There's just as many guys. So I think it's tough to say the sport's going to go one direction. There's still an old school guy.
I mean, it's just not going to.
There's still the old school guys, the old school mentality, and then of course there's a lot of guys that are just stepping the game up, and that's what we're going to see here tonight.
And that's going to separate the classes too. I mean, because if you can't compete with them, you're not going to run with them. It's going to be no fun for you.
Yeah, you've got the haves, and you've definitely got the haves and the have-nots for sure. And that's one of the dividing lines right there. But just because it's a have-not style show, I don't think that it's necessarily a bad show. There's definitely drivers that are out there that have all this heavy stuff that spend 6 months building the car that are like, what happened in the days where you could just knock the glass out and build a car in a weekend, and there's still, it seems like there's still an appetite for that out there.
There is, absolutely.
You know, it's tough, though, you know, talking to guys, especially out this direction, more out
we've
west.
Got Josh Decker here, and then we've got Vern Backus back home, who's building Josh Decker's limited weld cars, Vern would probably prefer to just run the stock event.
Vern is probably in the garage today working on my cars, you know. It is cold up there, though, so hopefully he's got the heat on.
When the boss says act, you must act.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right. No, but it's... What do you guys want to do? Do you want to go crazy and get to this level? It's awesome. I mean, but it's okay. I think it's just okay for the guys that just want to take a Chevy Caprice or whatever, a Y-frame Chrysler, and just take it to a county fair, bone stock, and run it. There's no right or wrong. I really don't think there is. We just got to kind of... Right now, there's so many variables in derbies. We got to start splitting them up a little bit, I think.
What do you mean splitting them up?
Well,
what do you mean?
Right now, if you look over throughout the whole country, modified means something different virtually every state you go into. I mean, modified to me, okay, before we came out to Blizzard Bash, or before we came out west, modified to me was us
Hartford
welding our doors shut. Yeah, maybe
Hartford. Yeah, exactly. Cuba
one inch thread rod, that kind of stuff, cage, whatever. But out here, you realize modified is a different world. I mean, different plating is not even a word for it. You know, and kickers every 3 inches. And
their limited weld is our outlaw,
and that's it. So there's so many different style rules out there when you get all across the country. We got to start pushing stock one way, maybe limited weld one way, modified one way, but right now it's wherever you go, it's something different.
Either way, whether you're into the extreme build, whether you're into the modified build, whether you're into limited weld or stock, I still think that we need to see the promoters ponying up the money that are still, you know, there's still fairs out there that are paying $300 and $500 to win, and they're only getting a dozen cars, and they're wondering what the problem is.
We got to stop going to those fairs. Everybody out there hearing me, if your fair's paying $500, it's tough to support that fair. They really don't care about you, and no one's gonna, and they can't say that they do. You know, you got to support these fairs. You got to support these guys that are putting their necks on their line to give us more money. Let's go there. We all should have that in the front of our heads.
The more people that go to those shows, or the more pay it's going to be.
Well, and it's just going to grow
Keep
from there.
increasing. Absolutely.
There's no doubt about that. There's no doubt about that. But what I wanted to say a little bit earlier was all across the country, there's different rules everywhere. But when you get out west, I bet there's drivers that have to build those supercars that are sick of that. That are saying, boy, I wish I could go to the Northeast. And I don't know if anybody watches the Northeast, but we're virtually, for the most part, running older style rules, not true modified cars. We're wrecking cars in one night. If we build a Chrysler New Yorker, we're wrecking it that night. And it's junk when you take it home. But I want to run more modified. Well, we don't have it out there. So I think wherever you go, there's going to be...
We're going to get a chance to get a little taste of that when you go to Minnesota.
Yeah, it's making me nervous. But yeah, I'm going to get a little taste of that. But most guys don't ever get the chance at that, you know. And it's interesting to see because I hear guys out west saying, like, man, I'd love to come run with you guys, or we could pull a car in on a Friday night and run it on Saturday. And we still can do that up Northeast.
Those days have not yet passed.
No, we still can do it, you know. But also, I would like to run some crazy modified cars. I'd be interested in that, but there's just nowhere to run that. I could go home and build something like we're building down here, but there's nothing within 10 hours that I could run it.
What do we got?
No feet on Finger Lakes.
All right. Your dad was telling me that.
Yeah, vendor list. I mean, there's some great stuff here. Some great stuff.
AFAB's out there. I didn't catch up with Dave yet. Big Rock. We just got the vendor list, and we were looking at
M1 Extreme Cradles. They got a whole group of cradles out there that are nasty.
What a beautiful looking site.
Nasty stuff out there.
DEC, I don't think they've arrived yet. ZTR, I saw those guys are out there. Chambliss Welding, they're out there.
The thing about which is a lot of the stuff on this list, Chris, is I really think if we were to take it home with us, bring it to some of the shows, just people would not know what to do.
I mean, blow their minds.
Promoters, I know promoters our way have never seen virtually 3/4 of stuff on this list. They wouldn't even know what we're talking about.
Right.
You could just name off the name and they'd have no idea.
No, exactly.
Let alone the parts.
No, it's pretty neat. It's pretty neat to see this many vendors all out there. And if you go out there, there's frames, there's motors, there's
there was a guy that had a trailer
rims,
with
tires.
just had a trailer with 03 Crown Vic frames.
Oh, yeah. If you guys are thinking about buying one, you got to start coming to these big shows. They're outside. Bring your trailer and take one home. Take a couple home.
Are we bringing one home? No.
Not today.
I don't think we could fit it over top of that shocker, could we, Josh?
No, we gotta. No, got something else going home with us today.
That's
but
a sweet
maybe the
looking
next
ride.
time we come down because I would like to get one.
Maybe next time.
Maybe next time on the trip down.
You're going to have one at some point, I'm sure.
Yeah. Do you think in Minnesota they would let you put an 03 Vic frame on an airplane, or would that not work? You know, because I'd like to.
No.
Can we ship it?
I'd like to check this.
Yeah.
Oh,
just
funny.
hook chains to it.
Yeah, we'll ratchet strap it.
There you go.
I don't think that's going to go over well.
Two on each wing equal out the balance.
If you flip it, just leave it belly down and just ratchet strap to the roof. Is that what you're saying? No, I don't think that's going to go over well. Derby Tees, Baldwin Racing Engines, DerbyParts.com, Cycle Jimmy, M1 Extreme Cradles, Hayes Tire, AFAB Metalworks, XS Energy Drinks, Big Rock Engine Cradles, FTM, P&L Motors and Cores, MOP Derby Products, Hoffmeister, we got to go see those guys.
Yep.
Near Stainless, DEC Headers, Chambliss Welding, ZTR Demo Products, Double D Derby Products, Clear Performance, Brian's Machine Shop, Hot Wired Customs. They're doing the DVD here tonight. LDB Gas Pedals, Hillbilly Speed Shop. There's a
lot of great names there.
If you brought a wallet big enough, everything that you need in terms of bolt-on stuff, you can pick it up right here.
Actually, virtually, you could go out there and build a car here in the parking lot. You could buy, because I'll tell you, there's shells, there's rear ends.
Bring a welder.
You virtually could. You could.
Yep.
I really think you could build one out here. If you should.
What are you thinking?
I just was.
What are you thinking?
I just was, but you couldn't build this style car in one day.
You ready to go, Josh?
You're not going to do that.
In New York, I think I could get away with it, though. If you got enough guys, I could get like 10, 12 guys here. We could get a car done in an afternoon.
Oh, boy. No.
I'll try.
No.
Give me a shot at it.
No. If you want to go out there and...
Not today.
Is it worth losing your fingers?
I need a warm day.
You're gonna keep warm by the global welder out there.
It's cold out there, man. That wind is ugly. Oh, I think New York guys are about to fight each other. They're getting all fired up over there.
Didn't take long.
Fight.
I figured one of them wasn't going to make the drive. I figured that they'd lose at least one on the ride out.
You would think so.
They don't stop for
We get
for
pretty
bathroom,
competitive up there.
stop for a bathroom break, and one of them gets left at the rest stop.
I can see that. I can see that. What are we doing on time-wise? I'm ready to start this thing right now.
Yeah, I know.
let's go.
I'm definitely itchy. I want to see this thing.
a couple
This
hours to
kickoff.
go.
We got a couple hours to go. Don't go by that clock.
Oh,
No, don't go by that clock.
I was.
If you are that clock's
It's
actually
Eastern time.
That's still on Eastern time.
Oh, okay.
So you got to put another hour on that number.
All right, so we're all right.
About 4 hours away. 4 hours away. We got some texts coming in. Kyle Adams, he's looking forward to watching everything at home.
I know Tommy Dow's ready. It was great. Mark was telling us that 22 states had ordered pay-per-view at 8 o'clock, before 8 o'clock this morning.
Wow.
Right?
That's great.
Is that what he
Yeah.
said? I mean,
yeah, he said it was
20,
over 20. I didn't catch how many specific, but I know he said
Okay, over 20 states are watching on pay-per-view, already sold. I mean, I think as the day goes on, we're even going to get more there. But how awesome is that? We're bringing 22 states together today. That's great.
It's pretty
So what
exciting.
does Dowd
It
do?
is.
Just watch from home because he can't come down here? And
Yeah, no, he's
hang out with
scared.
the cool guys?
He's
Yeah.
scared. No,
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Thanks for that.
He's scared.
That's good.
We love you, Tommy.
Stir him up.
We love you, Tommy.
No, we don't.
You know what's great is for anybody that's at home watching and you're thinking, I want to start going to some big shows. I'd like to do it. Trust us when we're saying do it. It's worth the time. It's worth the drive. We drove 14, 15 hours to get down here, and I'm super stoked right now. I'm excited for
the
it.
thing
For
is,
4 hours of fun.
Yeah. Well, that's all right.
That's
I'm okay
great.
with that.
they talk about, a lot of guys talk about, well, I want to go, but I don't know. I don't want to go that far and show up underbuilt. Well, the only way to know what built is to go there and see it.
You have to watch
You
before
have to
you run.
see it, and if you
Absolutely.
come out and support shows like this, it's off season. It's essentially a weekend. We left Friday. We're going to be back home late Sunday night.
Yep. I think they're having a Power Wheels derby because I see a whole bunch of Power Wheels pulling in here, a bunch of kids with Power Wheels. Did I hear that?
Yeah,
I love that.
The Ford boy.
Did you unload yours yet?
Yeah, can I get on a Power Wheel?
Can you really? You're gonna go. You're gonna go.
I'll buy one of these.
You're gonna
sir.
go
Can I buy
heckle
that
one of
Power
these
Wheel?
That's cheap fun right there.
I want that Barbie Jeep.
We actually talked on the studio program before about the Power Wheel shows and how a bunch of them got disqualified up in Dunkirk because they had done all sorts of aftermarket modifications. Like
Are you serious?
Yeah, they put screws. They put screws across the plastic wheels
What?
to get extra grip.
Oh, we've seen motorcycle we've seen a whole bunch
of
of
them changed.
stuff.
Yeah, a bunch of them changed out the batteries and put motorcycle batteries in. They were shorting them out. Like one kid almost got burned because it fried the motor.
Really?
Yeah, they
That's awesome.
had inspection per se. I mean, they just basically said yes, this is a Power Wheel.
Yeah.
and they went, and then they had probably 35 of them. And they had them all packed in, and they could like move back and forth a little bit, but not all that much. And then one caught on fire, and then another one caught on fire, and then another one started smoking, and another one smelled like burned plastic. Another kid jumped out, and they're like, "What is going on?" So afterward, this one that ran fine, they said, "I want to protest," and the promoters like laughed at him, and the parent of the kid that was like fourth or whatever said, "No, seriously, I want to protest that."
They protested.
They protested the Power Wheels.
The answer is no. Go home, sir.
They ended up checking his battery. They checked his battery. They found it was like a car battery,
They DQ'd him?
and they tossed the kid.
Oh, come
my
on. These are
goodness.
kids.
Not only did they toss the kid, the promoter made a point of it, and he said, "And you completely ruined it for your kid because you," pointing to the adult who put the battery in the car, "because you ruined it for him. You taught your kid to be a cheater." So completely undresses him in front of. So that parent turns around and says, "If you're going to check my kid, check all of them." They ended up tossing like half the field because they all had illegal batteries in them.
Oh, my goodness.
Dude, that's out of hand right there. Just let your kid go out there and smash a Power
Yeah,
Wheel.
completely went the wrong
Yeah, just have a
direction
car
of what that was.
battery. I mean, that's all safe and everything,
You
right?
know what was funny about them at
Fine. What's the worst could happen?
No, exactly. But at Blizzard Bash when they pulled all
Really,
the Power
Josh? Wait, really? I said, what's the worst could happen? You're like, no, don't worry about it. The kid could get burned, dude.
No, they'll jump
they'll
off
be
of
all
it.
right.
They're-
Yeah,
you're
they'll be
standing right
fine.
there. You're 2 feet away from them. I guess they could.
They're only 5 years old. Just pour some.
When we went down to
battery
Blizzard Bash, though, they had, 30 Power Wheels, a whole bunch of them, and they're pulling out there, and it's like, these are going to be boring because there's nothing's going to happen. But it's not true. Tires are falling off.
they were-
Hoods are
they were
falling
going
off.
for
I mean,
it.
yeah, it was actually fun to watch.
The boy, his last name was Ford, that ended up winning it. He was in that orange one, and man, he was wrecking stuff.
Driving
Really?
people.
Yeah, he was driving
There were
hard.
a couple kids that were not scared.
The one kid, that little boy I think he got knocked over in his Power Wheels. He ran up on top of the berm and started jumping up and down
Yeah,
with his
that was
arms in the
very
air.
cool.
That
And
was
they
cool.
also had a V8 youth class, didn't they? at Blizzard
Yeah,
Bash.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I can't believe I forgot that boy's name that we met.
Nick Holzen?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, he built a Chrysler out there, and I was rooting for him. You would have been rooting for him too, Devin. But
No,
I'd loved it.
Devin, you know why he was rooting for him?
Yeah, of course.
No, you don't. Because we're walking around Vendors Row, and this kid comes walking up to him and says, "Hey, aren't you Josh Decker?"
that did happen.
No, I'm not Josh Decker.
That was awesome. He's like, I'm from Nebraska or wherever it was, Kansas. I'm like, wow, that's awesome. That was cool.
It was pretty cool. And,
Yeah.
and Josh got a fan for life. And
Yeah,
you know,
that's cool.
he brought him over and let him sign the roof of his car. So that was kind of cool. And
Wow, look at you
That's
go.
not true.
Oh, I'm sure it's true.
I don't sign autographs.
You lie then.
Oh, you've quit doing that now?
Yeah.
It's so they're going to be worth some money.
It embarrasses me.
Took a Sawzall and cut that part of his car out and has it on his wall at home.
Oh, yeah.
That's funny stuff.
Looks like they're getting ready to go with that Power Wheel stuff, so I guess that's it's pretty much our cue to check out. But we've been on for just about an hour. Little sample of what we do on Monday night, 6 o'clock Eastern. FingerLakes1.tv is the best way to get a hold of us. On Facebook, www.facebook.com/The Crash Course. We're here with DerbyTees.tv. We're going to be trying it out, doing it for the first time. Going to try and do the play-by-play on the pay-per-view feed, so if that works out, it's going to be a ton of fun working together. Apologies to all the folks back home that were trying to log in on Finger Lakes 1. We tried to get all that up and running for you and working right. I'm not sure if it worked or not. I'm getting reports that maybe it didn't. A couple hours away, man.
I'm ready. Let's do it. I'm going to get something to eat, and let's get rolling.
Well, we got to get all this stuff shut off and start,
Don't forget
start
to
testing
eat.
all the
Gotta
parts and
eat.
pieces. Yeah, you got to eat.
Yeah.
Got to eat.
We haven't been doing good at that.
No, it hasn't been the best. Devin, thanks for making the trip out, of course, coming all the way up from Georgia to hang out with us for the weekend. And
Absolutely. Appreciate you having me.
glad you're having a good time, and we look forward to catching up with you later on through the course of the night because it's going to be a busy one here at Redneck Rumble 2014.
For sure.
Nice. My feet are fucking...